Good morning guys, welcome back to another episode of Bareham Engines. So first things first, I'm just about to give the Alvis a final lick on the top. We took the liners right down, but on the side of each bore there's like a little scallop. I think it's for the inlet valve, but we've just got to grind that out by hand before we go and do that final cut. And then, as I say, we've got to turn it over, do the bottom of the liners, and then we're going to hone it, and that block is done. But first things first, we're going to head out to the workshop and see what the boys have been up to this weekend. So here's Isaac. Like, it was his birthday the weekend. Happy birthday, mate.
Thank you very much.
What did you get up to?
Lots of drinking, I think.
Oh, but, really?
Yeah.
And where did you go? Anywhere special?
It was up in Bristol.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
You sound and Paul's laughing.
I'm not
so
too
you've had a few drinks, have you?
Yeah.
You buy anything special there, mate?
Bought a hammer. Where is it? Here it is.
There it is, look. Well, when did you buy the hammer, mate? Did you go to Bristol to buy the hammer, or did it just end up being that way?
I'd had a few drinks and I saw it on a market stall.
Yeah.
And I bought it.
What is this in the afternoon?
In the afternoon, yeah.
Nothing else you fancied?
No, just a hammer.
Was the missus a little bit worried? You taking a hammer back to the hotel?
Bit confused, I think, but it's all right.
Oh, that has made me laugh. Well, I'm glad you had a good time, mate.
Cheers.
So what's Paul up to? You're nearly done, mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what we got now? We've got the rocker bolts.
Brand new. Oh, thanks, mate. I'll stick this on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Get this COVID-ridden microphone on.
Bit tight, isn't it?
Sorry, mate. Yeah. Brand new bolts to the rocker cover.
Right. So that's it then. The final piece to this, is it?
Look at that slime.
What's all the swarf on the floor, mate?
Don't know, mate. It's just appeared.
Oh, okay.
No, someone before us snapped the bolt off from the
right.
in the hole, so I had to drill it out and tap it.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, wasn't my fault. Before you accuse me of these.
I haven't accused you of anything.
You will later on camera, probably.
It looks very nice.
Yeah, it's all right.
So have you had a good weekend then, Paul? Everything go to plan?
Yeah, I had quite a busy weekend. I was doing some of the alpha bits most of the weekend. Went to the tip on Sunday.
Oh, did you?
Got rid of the cardboard. Went to the gym last night as well.
Yeah.
Productive day, yeah.
Oh, good.
Built a cylinder head.
You built a cylinder head?
Yeah, built a cylinder head.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite happy actually, mate. Yeah.
Oh, good.
What about yourself?
I went to Bristol Saturday.
Did you enjoy Bristol?
Yeah, it was all right, mate. Yeah, it was quite nice. Went to Cribbs Causeway.
So you
did a little bit of shopping or browsing.
You must have been looking forward to that during the week then.
Well, not really. But it'd be better if I didn't drag two kids there.
Well, not really.
No, weren't like Isaac.
Not like Isaac.
Didn't buy any hammers.
Isaac drunk Bristol dry, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, just nipping these down.
Just nipping them down.
Nipping down the gun. We're doing, I don't know what torque set it is, but it's going to be something minute.
So it's looking a bit more jazzy than it was when it come in.
Yeah, it's basically ready to go now. I think they've got a big plastic cover goes there for this anyway. So.
Oh, have they? Yeah, that's the thing. You can't really see much of these, but I was quite hoping we would have the vapor blaster when this one come in. Would have been nice.
They're not the best sort of finish in this, but then they corrode. I think it's magnesium, isn't it?
Yeah, I think to be honest, it's better to have a bit of paint on it, really, isn't it?
Well, it was terribly corroded when we got it.
Yeah.
But I mean, all B&W stuff now is, I'll find.
But at least internally, it's all done and fresh.
Oh, it's fresh. It should go on for another 20 years, easy, mate.
Hopefully.
Brand new.
So this is the Alvis block here. As you can see, we've took it down, so it's almost, we've got a few areas here that have got to be cleaned, so we've got to give it one last cut. But before we do, we've took the liners right down to the surface. You can see I've scalloped one out here, so that is, I expect that is a bit of sort of flow from one of the valves, where you've got a bit of a valve that sort of overlaps the area here. I'm not sure because I haven't got the cylinder head, but that is what it looks like at the moment. So we've done the three in this direction. We're just going to finish those and then give it the one last cut. So on Friday I had a phone call, and I had a phone call today actually for a similar sort of thing. So I'm just going to address both issues, if you like, into one little video. So the phone call I had on Friday was from a customer. I don't know how many of you viewers know about engines, know about all the dimensions, know about everything to do with engines, or I'm sure there's plenty of you that have no clue whatsoever with regards to tolerances and all that in an engine. So It's surprising how many people we have ring up to do with this little subject and say the same thing. Quite a lot of the time it's garages, so garages getting involved with engines, so they have, you know, they're not completely clueless, they have a good idea of what an engine entails and this, that, the other. But the phone call I had on Friday was to do with, it was a garage, customer of ours, and he rang up and said the same thing as a lot of people do. We supplied a set of piston rings, it was in a Vauxhall actually. So we did the cylinder head, supplied a set of piston rings, and so what they do is on the Vauxhalls, they do tend to burn oil. So the oil control ring goes rubbish, especially if they've got overheated. So what we do is supply piston rings, go through the cylinder head. While the head's off, you can take the pistons and rods out, change the rings, deglaze the bores and put it all back together. So that's what we advise, especially on things like Vauxhalls, because they are renowned for it. So anyway, he has a set of rings, gaskets and the cylinder head back off us. Rings us up shortly after saying he's fitted the rings to the pistons, obviously cleaned all the pistons up. He says, but he's put the pistons and rods down the holes, and there's something not right with, doesn't seem right with the pistons. And I said, well, what do you mean? He says, well, if you get the top of the piston in the bore, it wobbles about somewhat chronic. It's got a hell of a lot of wear around the edge. Now, you wouldn't believe how many people have rang up and said the same thing here, but little did he know, and a lot of people don't know this, they assume that a piston is dead parallel from the bottom to the top, to the crown. And obviously you've got the rings up the top, but a modern piston is in fact shaped a bit like that. So on the thrust side, so you've got the pin that goes this way, but on the thrust side it is sort of tapered down, and the only bit that touches the bore is the sort of almost the bottom of the skirt, probably 5 or 10 mil up on that area, and the top of the piston is quite a lot further in than the skirt. So the rings then take up that gap up the top. So if you've got clean the ring grooves out and put the rings in, you will be able to get it and rock the top of the piston. That's just the way it's designed. Some pistons, like the older ones, are parallel almost up to where the rings go, and then there'll be a sort of, the piston will be turned down and the rings will take up that slack. But no, modern pistons shaped like that, touch down the bottom and the rings take up the slack. So when you get the top of the piston, it will seem like there's a hell of a lot of wear in there, but there isn't. That's just the way it's designed. So just thought I would address that, guys, in case you didn't know that. So if you ever end up taking the head off an engine at least and then fill the pistons at the top, they will wobble about, but don't worry about it. Secondly was the phone call I had today. Now, you wouldn't believe how many people, even people that have got involved with building engines, not engine builders as such, but people that got involved with engines, they'll ring up and say, how much to rebore my block? I'm going to use the same pistons, so I need a set of oversized rings. You cannot put, say, a standard size piston in a 0.5 or 1 mil oversized bore with oversized rings. It just baffles me how many people think that that is a thing. You can't take a bit out the bore. You can't bore one bore and leave the rest. You have to do them all the same. Piston oversizes will come in specific sizes, like either 0.5 mil, 1 mil, 1.5 mil, sometimes 2 mil. And you bore each bore to the oversize until they're all cleaned, and then you buy the correct size pistons, which will come with the right rings. You know, I've had lots of people in the past say, oh, I've sort of measured the bore. There's about 1/8 hour bore wear. So if can we get some oversized rings, you know, thinking that they can use the same pistons, but no, you can't. Always baffles me, that one. But then again, I suppose I've been building engines for 20 odd years, so can't expect everyone to know. But just a little bit of advice, guys, if you ever get involved with that, no, you can't do that, I'm afraid. So I've turned the Alvis block upside down now, and you can see just got a little bit of protrusion on the liners where I pushed them through. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just facing the backs, make sure it's all nice and smooth. That line up there, it looks like a crack, but it isn't a crack, guys. That is just where I've pulled the boring bar back out of the liner. So yeah, don't worry about that. That'll come out with the hone. So yeah, once I've done that, you see these little grooves here. That is for the con rods, clearance, sort of clearance room for the con rods. So we're just gonna, before we hone it, we're gonna have to chomp those out. So I'll probably do that on the milling machine, and that'll just give us clearance for the sort of side to side movement of the rods. Right, so good progress so far today, guys. As I say, it's only Monday, but we have done the build for the BMW. We have sent that to our customer, and he is over the moon with that. And he said he's going to be looking to pick that up in the next sort of week, really. So we're going to, I think that's his engine stand, but he said he does want it on a pallet, so we'll just get that on a pallet, however he wants it, not a problem. We've also done the build for the Series 1 Land Rover, so hopefully, you see Isaac's finished that one now, and that is looking absolutely lovely. Head on, rocker cover on, all the bits on, even the flywheels on there, you can see. So yeah, that's really nice. Isaac did want to get that one finished today, but unfortunately he's had to head off home. As you may have seen earlier on in this video, we give him a little bit of an interview on what he was up to at the weekend for his birthday, and he didn't look very well. He's got a bit of a sore throat, he's on the old strepsils and that, so I said, listen, just get that motor finished and then you can go home. So he's gone home, unfortunately, today, but that's all done. Hopefully that customer is going to come and pick that up very shortly. The MGB V8, we've got the customer coming in the next few days. He wants to come in, have a little look at it, go through it and see what it needs. Now, very strangely, although it looks a bit rough, this thing, it's only done about 30,000 miles from new, this car. So he wasn't really expecting anything to be that badly worn or anything. It's just that the thing has sat for years and years. So he's pretty much stripped it himself. Obviously, we've had this under the bench for quite some time. So we've gone through it all. We've stripped the rest of the bits, measured everything. But very strangely, although it's only done that amount of work, you see down there, it has got a bit of a lip on the bores. So don't know whether this thing's been running rich or what in the past, but it's going to need a rebore. We're going to have to go through the heads. The crank looks perfect. Whether he wants us to just polish that, whether he wants it balanced, not sure. Don't know whether he wants to put a bit of a tastier cam in there while we're at it, but the rest of it is just sort of do our usual tricks, normal machining and Meccano, really. So, and obviously he's going to probably want it looking really nice, but he's going to come in. I've done a bit of an estimate over there, so I'm just going to run through that with him, see how far he wants us to go with it, really. We're still waiting for the pistons on this E-Type, very frustrating, but as soon as they're in, Paul can get this one finished as well. The Golf VR6, Paul's got this one apart, and I think it's pretty standard stuff, really. This is in a Mark II Golf. Now, I'm sure the customer or his friend, Stephen, the one that's got the Fiesta RS Turbo engine, I'm sure he'll be watching. They'll probably correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure this is in a Mark II Golf GTI. But yeah, as you can see, we've stripped it. He's going to want some trick pistons and rods in this, camshafts, bit of work on the head, all the usual, as much as we can do really for a basic engine. But as you can see, the design of this engine, I really do like this engine. I've always been a Mark III Golf VR6 fan anyway. Never had one. I had a GTI, absolutely loved it, but I've always liked this engine. It's a clever engine. It's basically like a designed as a 4-cylinder really, but with 2 extra pots. So we've got the narrow V down there. You can see we've got 7 main bearings, which is a great idea. And the rest of it is fairly simple stuff, a bit like a 4-cylinder. So you can see the cylinder head here. It's a 12 valve head. So you've got 2 valves per cylinder, 1 head on a V6. Extremely clever idea, I think. These do suffer with guide wear, so I suspect we'll have to do all the guides. We normally sleeve them on these, cut the seats. I'm going to do a bit of work on the throats of the valves. We're not going to go too heavy on the porting. I'm going to go fast road cams and obviously clean this up. and probably high comp pistons, H-section rods, competition bearings, and all the rest of it really. Rest of the head is fairly simple. We've got the hydraulic lifters there which we'll replace. Paul's cleaned up and painted most of the bits already, so we're getting there with that one, guys. Hopefully not too long, and I'll have a little chat with the customer and we'll get some bits ordered for that. Right, so the last video, thumbnail and title, was to do with the warranty claim, or the ongoing warranty claim with the gearbox customer. So I said in the last video, because they rang up, or he got his wife to ring up, and I mentioned a lawyer, they seem to be backtracking on the phone, but didn't look like the case. I had an email come through today saying they need to hear back from us, fairly smartish, and if we do sort of disagree with it or don't toe the line and pay the bill, they're basically going to take us to court, and we're going to have the court fees and whatever you to pay. So if that's what it takes, guys, I'm not one of these that's just trying to get out of the payment. If I thought that it could be something to do with what we did, then I would obviously ring up and have a chat with him. But to be honest, what he's claiming for is nothing to do with the conversation that we had originally. And it's a very unfair amount, I think. So unfortunately, on this occasion, we're going to have to just send him a solicitor's letter and go against this one and see what happens. But we will keep you informed for sure. So at very long last, guys, this is all the SR20 stuff, the Nissan SR20 engine that's been on the shelf up there for quite some time. This is as far as we've got to go on this. The customer is coming in today to pick it up, he says. So we've got it all out and made sure it's all good. We've got the crankshaft down there that's been ground 0.5 on the mains and the big ends. We've got the block that we've faced, deglazed, be good for a set of rings, that. Cylinder head we've gone through, all the rest of the bits we've sort of stripped off and just cleaned up some of it and put it all back. And he's either going to have a think whether he's going to sell it as it is, or he's going to build it up and sell it as an engine, because obviously these things now are getting quite sought after a little bit. The prices are rising. People tend to stick them in Mark 1s, Mark 2s, kit cars. They're a great engine, really. Glad to see this one go, guys. Although this was the video we did on this very initially, is our best video up to date. It's got over 500,000 views on this one, so yeah, hopefully that one's gone, guys. We can make some space for some more incoming work. Right, so we're on the final leg of this Alvis set of barrels, guys. Bar the honing, that's all we've got to do, about 1.5 hours to come out of there. As you can see here, all I'm doing is taking the cutout out for the con rods. I've done this side. You can see the two here that I haven't done, but the ones at the back there that I have done, all I'm doing is roughing it down to the bottom there, and then I'm just going to blend this in by hand, and then that is going to be more than enough. But yeah, almost finished this, guys. As you can see, there's quite a few processes goes into fitting these liners, especially when you've got all these cutouts, etc. But almost at the end of this, and then we can crack on with the next job. Well, thanks ever so much for watching today's video, guys. Comment down below if you've got any questions or anything to add to whatever we've been discussing today. And until another video, you take care, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Cheers, guys.